Welcome everyone. My name is Jeff St Laurent. This is the Tuesday live show, and just a second from now, I'm going to bring my awesome buddy on and great mentor coaching client of mine, John Neral. Before we do that, I want to get right into some of the logistics about this. I always record these live shows. I put them in my university, in my website, sellingcoaching.com. So please check that out. And then right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com, I've got a great resource called the Ultimate Startup Guide for New Coaches. That's an audio and PDF resource for you. So definitely check that out. It's your name and email. That's also going to put you in my email community. And that's where we're not only going to be able to stay in touch with each other, stay connected, but also I want you to be on there because I want you to not only learn the valuable lessons, but see how I utilize email. It's so funny because the people that I work with, like John, you'll be hearing of the system that we put him through, that's been helping him create income with his full-time business. But a lot of the people that I work with or that come to me that have coaching businesses, they don't use email. They haven't used email. They don't have an email list. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's one of the core components to your business is building that audience. So I want you to see how I keep in touch with my audience as we go through that as well. But without any further ado, I want to bring on John Neral. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? I'm good,
Awesome.
thanks.
And this is John's third appearance on my before I had my Tuesday live call, and now it's a live show. But for good reason, because John, through his work with me, which we're now, I think we discussed beforehand, was just over a year and a half of working together. Which it's been a journey, and it's been a privilege to be your mentor coach along that way. But along that journey went from basically saying, oh, I got to do this coaching business. I want to do this. Help me out. How do I do this? To, oh my God, I'm really going to do this, and I'm going to quit my job. And then over the past year since then, working his business full time. And so, John, today is, or this month, or right around now is your 1-year anniversary. Tell us about your anniversary of what?
Yeah, so it's the 1-year anniversary of me giving notice. Oh, you hearing that feedback? Are you hearing that?
No, you good.
Okay. So it's the 1-year anniversary of me talking to my vice president and giving notice of me leaving my job. And then it was a month later, it was December 1st when I actually left my job after a 25-year career in education and 5 years specifically with an educational nonprofit to take the leap and start my coaching practice full time.
It's crazy. So it's been a year.
Yeah.
So super exciting. So what I'm going to bring everyone right now is because I spent a lot of time with John prior to that. Like I said, this is his third appearance on my live shows here. We did a call, and I'm going to put that on the screen right now. And we did a call. So if you go to sellingcoaching.com under the university and you go to the search bar and you can type in call 90 or just type in 90 and hit enter or search, and that call will pop up. So we're not going to spend time now on the process that led him up to there because you can listen to that call. It's a great call to really identify like what he was going through, the emotions, the rawness of it. And we really explored that and it was as you were going through it, like the week of putting in your notice of a 25-year career to go full time and take that leap. I had you on the show. So it's a really great, if you will, narrative of how to go full time and what he did, not only just mentally, but also strategically, financially, to set himself up to go full time. So I want to reference that call right there. We're not going to talk about that because we've done that. You can learn from that. But now we're gonna go from there and say, okay, so you quit your job, right? You went full time. It's, I think towards the end of the year, you were done with work. You took a little vacation to say, okay, 25 years, let me just chill for a little bit. You came back and call it's the new year. Let's go from there. Let's talk about, okay, what's been happening since then in your business?
Sure. I think the biggest thing, and it's such a testament to our work, is that I have a structure for how I run my business. So I know that I email my community 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. I happened to be talking to someone yesterday, and she said, I am impressed that I know at like 8 a.m. I get an email from you. She's like, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, well, it's part of my business. It's what helps me keep me organized and focused and moving forward. And having that structure has been so vital to holding me accountable in terms of how I run my business. And so I would just say right off the bat, like having that structure and then doing the Facebook Live that I do every Wednesday, that structure has been so key for me in making sure for me, like what I felt was like getting off on the right foot.
Yeah. So, and when you came to me, we started working together, just what was your business like at that point? Because you pretty much started from scratch.
I did. I did. In fact, when and as you referenced too in the call, I mean, I had no intentions of launching a full-time coaching business, but when I realized that where I was at, the culture wasn't necessarily conducive for me to do internal coaching full time. And that's when it was really about saying, okay, let's go ahead and do this. So I started from ground zero. You helped me so much in terms of getting all the logistics and stuff done ahead of time. But for me, having that clean break come, I think it was January 3rd, I started. I made a lot of executive decisions in my first month as a business owner. I gave myself a month off. I gave myself January 2nd off. And, but it just helped me play very intentionally with the business moving forward.
Yeah. So let's talk about that structure a little bit, because
Mhm.
that's kind of the key thing that I bring to all my mentoring clients
Yep.
is helping them with that marketing structure of emails, social media, if they're doing stuff online, etc. Talk about, and you mentioned you do your emails Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You've got a live show, etc. Talk about a little bit about that structure, and then also the value that you've seen. Now you've played this out for
Sure.
a full year, or just about.
Mhm.
You've played it out for a full year. Talk about the structure and then the value that you've seen it bring to your business.
Right. So for me, what was really helpful was that each week I picked a particular topic around leadership and careers. And I think it's really the teacher in me that if I went with that one topic, it helped me create all the content that I needed to do from the emails as well as then from the videos and such. But it also helped me engage with people, whether it be on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or through the emails. And then I could go back and look at the data and see what topics resonated more than others. I remember back in May, I posted something on LinkedIn about um, what kind of advice would I give myself if I was a college senior. And I literally watched like the number of views just exponentially grow on that thing. I want to say like it was like 16 or 1700 views I got out of that post. And it all, I mean, aside from how I serve my clients and how I put information out there, it also gave me information about what topics were resonating more than others. So, sometimes you put topics out there and they don't land as well as what others do, but that was all just part about staying really, really consistent and seeing that topic through, and then having conversations with people throughout those various channels, as well as talking to my clients and talking to people in person about what their pain points were so I could serve them more intentionally.
Yeah, so you're saying with the emails you're doing, but more importantly, with the weekly live shows that you are doing, you're playing around with the topics
Right.
and researching and finding out which ones are, if you will, landing better or getting more views than others. So you're understanding what your audience actually needs and wants.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, I can think I know what they want, and that's a good starting point for me. But until I start having conversations and dialoguing with people, I don't really know from my audience until I hear from them and start asking.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing about what we do is, when we started off way back when, we had to help you figure out, as I like to say, your headline, helping who with what specifically. And then at some point, as you know, we just got to get you out there to figure out, well, is this actually working or not?
Mhm.
So what is your helping who with what specifically?
So I help professionals who are ambitious about their careers create their next advancement opportunity. And
Nice.
that next advancement opportunity could be either an internal promotion, a chance for them to step up and lead more effectively, or they're just done and they're ready to leverage their talents and expertise and take them elsewhere.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put your website up there so people can see that
Thanks.
as well. JohnNeral.com. No surprise, it's John Neral. I remember the call.
Keep it simple. I just want to say too, though, like, I remember you and I having a conversation about like what I wanted my domain name to be and like how to title it. And you said something that like literally it was like a smack upside the head. And you were like, people just click on stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, like, why am I wasting all of this energy and things and stuff? And it was just like, let's just keep it simple. And there it is. So.
Especially with your name, John Neral, Doc. I mean, it's just, you can't misspell that. It's not like any weird spelling of it, but and that's the biggest thing. Those are lessons along the way. It's just like people don't care what your business name is. We care what our business name is, and that's it. And
Mhm.
if you can find a business name that's relevant, like I have sellingcoaching.com, like it's relevant for what I do. But if I didn't have that, it would just probably be jeffstlaurent.com or whatever.
Mhm.
But exactly. So if you go to John's website, johnneral.com, I also get that in the comments as well. But you can definitely check that out. You can see very simple website. He's got his free offer. Talk about the website and the process we went through with that. And
Right. So, just big shout out to Lynn Coffey for all her help with the website and everything, right? Because we just love Lynn. But once I got all the content up there, I think the biggest aha for me with the website in the first year of my business was something that both you and Lynn talked about, was about making sure that all of the content that I create is cross-populated. So those Facebook Lives, to make sure that those Facebook Lives got on the YouTube channel that in turn got on the website. And so now, and it's funny, you mentioned like, call 90, and then this is like call like 135. I think tomorrow is like number 40 for me. And to have all of that content that's there on the website so that anybody who lands on it, there's information there that in some shape or form hopefully will serve them and then start building a relationship with. So just having that content up there was, I think, the biggest stretch and maturation for my website this year, without a doubt.
yeah, and you did a great job with it. And
Thanks.
just, John's mentioning Lynn. I'll put her website up there. She's someone that I recommend to everybody for websites. Just very simple process, very affordable, and she knows her stuff. And plus, she's cool. She's easy to talk to.
Totally is.
But a lot of people, have hellish experiences with websites. So I just wanted to give you guys that reference as well. But yeah, so John went through that process there. And so and I want to pull back. You just said you're at call number or video
40.
40.
40.
Awesome. So, and that's part of your weekly system that we were talking about, is sending those emails out there. And you've done 40 live shows.
Mhm.
And talk about the evolution of your live event each week, because a lot of people that I work with, and a lot of people out there, especially when I start saying, okay, we got to do a live show, we've got to do a live event. Obviously I do these live shows every Tuesday. And people are like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? How am I going to, you're sending 3 emails a week, right? For the last year, and then you've done 40 shows, and you've been super consistent. So talk about the evolution of that, and how you got to actually like be able to do that.
Yeah. So I remember how you and I were talking back in January and the whole push for doing the live event. And it was like the middle of January. And I had said, well, I think probably like in a couple weeks, maybe beginning of February, I can start doing a Wednesday show. And we were meeting on a Monday, and you said, well, Wednesday's 2 days away. You should go live then. And I just remember, I was like you could have kicked me in the stomach at that point. I was like, I'm not ready to be that vulnerable. I don't wanna. And I go back and I look at that first show and I'm like, I was nervous, but I got it done. And for me, where, my inner critic or my gremlin is all about like, it's not perfect, it's not good enough kind of thing. Like the fact that I got it out there and I survived the whole experience, I was like, okay. And the next one was a little bit better, and the next one was a little bit better, and so on. And I remember the first time I went live and we got to 30 minutes. Like we had people were putting comments in there and stuff, and we got to 30 minutes. I never ever thought that I would get to 30 minutes in a Facebook Live. And now by the time I engage with everybody and talk with everybody and do the content and Q&A, 30 minutes goes like that. And it's so much more comfortable. to just go ahead and do it. I mean, now it's just another part of my week. And I just go live Wednesdays at 1 o'clock on my Facebook page.
Yeah, and what I've been impressed with you, John, is that every time you came to me with, okay, you know, you're contemplating it, you're like, okay, I'm getting what you're teaching me, and so now you're gonna put a little plan together to kind of execute it. It's like you said, I'll do it in a couple of weeks, and we're like, no, it's Wednesdays in a couple of days, right? We'll do it now, right? But what I've been impressed about you is that you've always followed through. Like you didn't then say, okay, yeah, it is in a couple of days, but like you just said, okay, I just get kicked in the stomach and I'm gonna do it.
Right.
You've always done the work, which is awesome. You always show up. Like you said, you send your emails on a regular basis. You send them at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm on your email list, right? So I know that stuff, right? So you follow through and you're consistent. But you also honor where you're at in life, because you travel, and when you do those things, you bowl, or you're a professional bowler, right? So you do a lot of different things there, and you honor those things. And so you have a week where, okay, I'm not going to do my live this week because I'm honoring that I'm on a vacation, etc.
Right.
And those are the things that I admire, is that you've taken, if you will, the system that I've helped teach you, and you've made it your own, and you made it work for you in your business, in those executive decisions, if you will, as a CEO of your own company.
And I know one of the things you and I talked a lot about, especially in this last quarter, because I remember when I re-signed with you and you had said to me, well, what's the big push? How do you want to do this a little bit differently? And you and I talked a lot about me giving myself permission to experiment and play with things a little bit differently with the business. I mean, one of the things was I couldn't go live one Wednesday. So I just recorded a video and then posted it over to the Facebook page and put it on the website. I still did a video that week. It just wasn't the Facebook Live, but it still got content out there, and it allowed me to have the balance that I needed in my life for that week. So everything just worked. And I think as I'm starting to evolve more as a business owner, it is about kind of giving myself those permissions to do what is ultimately best for my business to best serve my clients. And that's been a big push, and thanks to you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. And like I said, you're doing it, you're doing the work, which is huge. So let's talk about the realities. Let's dive in the next few minutes. All right. So now you're doing this full time. What's the real work like? Because you're getting paid, you're getting clients, right? Which is good. Now you've been getting paid more consistently because you've been doing the work. But talk about the real work.
Yeah. So I want to acknowledge I haven't replicated my salary for the first year. That was totally expected, but it's also about, the work, right? And my primary revenue stream right now is from one-on-one clients and public speaking engagements. And the work is that I put myself out there a lot in terms of meeting with people and talking with people to see how well I can serve them and qualifying them for complimentary coaching conversations, and then going through that process and figuring out, what's next. And they're either going to sign or they're not. And if they don't sign, I'm either going to want to work with them or I'm not. And we have to acknowledge that too. I had someone with whom I talked with last week who I would have loved to have worked with. They're just not ready for coaching. It's just not the right time. Maybe down the road they are, but that's part of the reality of it. Sometimes we do what's best for clients, and what that means is they don't hire us because they're not there yet. It means I don't get paid, but that's also how I run my business. There are some late nights and some early mornings because stuff has to get done. Just as well. I mean, I went through a little part like mid-year where I started questioning a little bit, like, was this really the right move? And am I going to make it? Is that the business isn't progressing? I remember saying to you, like, I hadn't run a credit card in a while, meaning I hadn't gotten a paid client in a few months. And it was just like, what the heck is going on? And then we have those coaching conversations and we figure out the approach and something different. And the clients come because you're consistent and you're diligent and you serve and you listen intently and you do a lot of work to get that one client. And each time I've found that when I've been able to sign on a new client, it's like that snowball starts building up traction down the hill because I've learned everything from that experience before, especially where it's gotten to the point of signing the client and maybe I didn't say the right thing to push them over the edge, or I didn't listen as intuitively or as intently as I needed to in order to figure out their need to best serve them. Or I said, great, well, call me when you're ready. Well, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We talked about that, right? And so it's those kind of things that I've learned along the way that has just really made this past year a tremendous learning and growing experience.
Talk briefly about those sales conversations that we help you with. When you're like, okay, Jeff, I've got this guy or this girl, and they're talking to me, and here's what's going on. And we have it, whether it's a call that we're having or we go back and forth via email. Talk about those sales conversations and what you've learned with that piece.
Yeah. So what I've learned is that when I've qualified a client well, meaning that I've had that initial phone conversation or there's been some email exchange back and forth, and they get really, really specific on why coaching is right for them and what they're trying to do at this time where they think coaching would be a benefit for them. And I also feel that I can serve them fully in that relationship, that the complimentary session is really that final step just to ensure that this is the exact right way to go. Because if they want to sign, they're gonna sign. And that qualifying process has been so key to doing it. I think the other thing too has been to be a little flexible in terms of listening about where the money obstacle is for the client, and being able to say, hey, I'd love to get paid up front, but if that's not an option and you see value in working with me, how do we make this work? And when I have asked that question, and I can tell you that the last 3 clients I've signed who've hired me where I've said, how do we make this work? When they're like, yeah, you add value, you're great, blah, blah, blah. They figure out a way. They figure out a way that they can pay and that I'm willing to work with them on. And it's the right thing to do for them. And it's the right thing to do for me and my business. Because in the end, I don't want to lose a client, but it's just being able to meet them where they're at and at the same time give them that little push because they've said they needed coaching or they want coaching, and then we just got to take care of the money issue. We take care of the money issue and then we can play.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about the relationship that we have. And as I work with my clients is helping you through those conversations, because I've been through some of those before. Right. And so now it's navigating that conversation to understand, where is that person and helping you with that process so you understand it. And that's what I love that I've seen with you is you've become more and more comfortable with that process.
Yes.
And that's huge. And so as we start to wrap this up, talk to me about the value that you've had through us mentoring together.
Oh my gosh. So let me just say, like, especially when you go through a coaching certification program and you've seen the value in coaching by getting there anyway. It was just a natural progression and a key part of my business plan to hire a mentor coach. And I'm really, really glad that you and I got connected through the mastermind program with IPEC, and then being able to hire you afterwards, because what you've been able to do for me is you've helped me create a structured marketing plan that helps me run my business effectively and, most importantly, serve my clients. You've been a sounding board when I've had questions or doubts or concerns about things that are coming up in my business. And because you've done it, you can mentor me in that way and simply say, hey, what's worked for me has been this. You may want to try this, or how about this suggestion? That's been so valuable. And the third thing is that, you lead by example. Um, it was so easy for me to just say, hey, here's a structure. Let me play with it. Fair enough to say that I needed that structure because I was starting out at ground zero. And so that's where just the value has been so much in terms of the marketing, the client relationships, the business side of things, how I schedule my day, how to give myself a little bit flexibility to help me take a little bit better care of myself during the day so I'm not working all the time. You and I have talked about that. That's actually going pretty well right now. Yeah. So I mean, that's where the value has been. And, I look at your website and I see all the stuff that you have out there for coaches that's free and accessible to them. And I look at my website and I see all the stuff that's out there for professionals who are looking for that next advancement opportunity. And I see the parallels and I see the similarities in some ways, even though I haven't been doing it as long, but the structure is there and the intent is there. And so that's just another part of the value.
Yeah. And John, it's been awesome working with you. And I look forward to what we have going together and where we're taking you. I thank you for trusting me to be part of this process.
Definitely.
It's an honor doing that. That you've been working with clients now for a little longer. It's just when someone trusts you to help mold them or their career, in your case, or in this case, your business, it's exciting. It's thrilling. So as we wrap this up, John, how can people get a hold of you and find out a little bit more about what you have to offer?
Sure. So people can go to my website, which is johnneral.com, and they can email me at john@johnneral.com. I do have a free resource up there, which is called 3 Steps to Creating Your Next Advancement Opportunity Without Feeling Overwhelmed. So that's the downloadable that gets you into my email community. And as I mentioned earlier, I email everyone Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. with a different topic around leadership and careers. You can find me on Facebook at John Neral Coaching LLC, where I do that weekly Facebook Live show at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. And I'm also on LinkedIn and YouTube.
He's everywhere.
Hard to believe a year ago that we could actually say that. But yeah, it's true. We're starting to build all those things.
And you're everywhere, but you're everywhere consistently, which is the key.
Yes.